Good morning, Fruitport Middle School staff. This is our attempt to get you some information with regard to the M-STEP test, our new MEEP test that is coming this spring. While I've had a chance to talk to a couple of departments, I know that all of you are anxious for this information, and so we're going to get it to you this way, sooner versus later. So the first thing that you are looking at is a document that I have shared with you called the M-STEP assessment for grades 6 through 8. And it literally just lists every type of test that our middle school students will have to have this spring. And so I'm just going to go through a couple of things just for clarification's sake, and also to help you understand what it is we are looking at in terms of a schedule once this test gets underway as of April 13th. First of all, notice the dates of when each of the tests or the grade levels can test. The state is telling us that at 8th grade they must test during that time. 7th grade cannot start their test until that time. And of course then 6th grade goes last. They will not begin any of their M-STEP tests until May 18th. The other thing I want you to notice is that there is quite a consistency with the type of test that all kids have to take with regard to math and language arts. And I will use the 8th grade as the example. If you notice, all 8th graders will have 3 math tests. One of them is a computer adaptive technology, or we're going to call it the CAT, and we must provide 121 minutes for that test. That is why you are seeing us look at a potential block schedule where we must put 2 hours of time together. Because of the number of tests that our students will have to take that require 120 minutes, we will be looking at, and I will be showing you the number of days that we will be block scheduling. They also will be required to take, that is, all kids will be required to take, I'm going to go backwards. There we go. A classroom activity. This just happens in the class. It's for 30 minutes, but this test must happen before the performance assessment, which again is on computer, and we are required to offer kids at least 60 minutes. The tests are not limited, however, so if kids need more time, we will have to be prepared to give them more time. A very, very similar thing happens for language arts. There are 3 tests. There is a computer adaptive test that is 90 minutes for language arts, again a classroom activity test, and then finally a performance assessment of 120 minutes. Again, note why we need to have a 2-hour block. Those 3 tests happen in every single grade level. So if you are a 7th grade teacher, or if you're curious about what happens in 7th grade, you will notice that the exact same kinds of tests and the exact same times have to happen for every 7th grader, and again for every single 6th grader. Thus, we will be spending a lot of time testing in the spring. In addition, for 8th grade, they will be taking social studies online, and both of those are 50 minutes. For 7th grade, they will be taking a science test, 2 parts, again, a part 1 and part 2, also for 50 minutes. All told, we will be doing these tests, right? Some of them will happen in our computer labs. There may be times in which they will be happening on Chromebooks. And in addition, unfortunately, we will also have to have some time in here for our map testing. So what I'm going to take you to is a calendar where we have tried to plot out what this could look like. Courtney has put in a temporary schedule of what the block schedule days look like. We are still seeking your feedback, but this is our best guess right now. So 8th grade, so you have access to this calendar, all right? It's called the M-STEP test calendar. If you struggle to know how to find these additional calendars, you go into your other calendars and you would begin typing in M-STEP, and for you it would pop up and you can see it. If you want to only watch or see this calendar, you will need to make sure that there are no other colors showing for your other calendars, so you're just seeing the M-STEP calendar. On the M-STEP calendar, you're going to see a couple of things. You are going to see the M-STEP test. You are going to see what kind of schedule we run, and when we begin map testing, you will see a map schedule. So your job is to take a look at this and see how this impacts you. If our schedule is changed, block schedule A, it impacts the entire building. It is not just impacting 8th grade. The entire building will be on a block schedule A, and then a block Schedule B. You can notice on the 15th there is no schedule calendar date on there, and so it's just a regular day. Same thing would be true on the 24th. There is nothing in orange, which means it's a regular scheduled day. The other thing that you will want to notice is, let's say that I am, let's go down to 7th grade science. How do I know? Well, we'll go down to 7th grade ELA, where I am testing or what's happening. If I click on it, notice that the 7th grade ELA is happening in computer lab. So if you're an ELA teacher, you know that you are not testing kids on a Chromebook. On the other hand, I'm looking at 8th grade reading map. Woo, it is Chromebooks. And so we have some work to do to help you and others know how to use those Chromebooks to do your testing. So not to panic. We know that there are some things that some of us need to learn. And the purpose for putting this out is so that you can take a look at it and have a better understanding of the impacts on you as well as your students. Notice on the 18th, this is when 6th grade starts. Nobody is impacted. Yay! On this day, we won't have an alternative schedule. We'll run a regular day, and we will be testing all 6th graders at the same time, but they'll get all tested in the morning. For those of you who use or have Chromebook carts, yes, I will ultimately add on here who will be having to give up those Chromebooks on which days to provide opportunity for testing. There will be many of those days, unfortunately. The last thing that I want you to look for are just any makeup days. You can see those down here. We did try to put in here too, if you recall, 8th graders are going to DC. We also have a Mackinac trip here, and so we've tried to plan for those to know which kids will have to test because they may be leaving and not here for that day. So play with it, give us comments, let us know if you see some issues, talk to your department chair, they've also seen this, and then I want to take you to one last document. This is called the FMS Spring Testing Resources. We think as a district it would be very helpful for all teachers to spend some time taking a look at what it is that kids will be tested on. If you're a language arts or math teacher, you would probably go to the Smarter Balance practice test and take a look at what are my students really going to be asked to do when they get into that math test or that language arts. You also could go to M-Step Preview. The disadvantage for M-Step Preview is that it's multiple grades. There is not yet a test that's only for, say, 6th grade or only for 7th grade, whereas the Smarter Balance test can give you those kinds of tests. If you are a related arts teacher or a science teacher or a social studies teacher, I would highly encourage you to go down here and take a look at what would my 6th graders or 7th graders or 8th graders, what are they really being asked to do on those performance assessments? What kind of mathematics? Because what we do know is some of those mathematic tasks are pulling off of science information. The same would be true for the ELA performance task. What we know is a lot of it will be nonfiction, and where do they draw their information, that non-fiction information from? Typically a social studies or a science theme. So it'd be helpful for related arts teachers and also science and social studies teachers to take a look at these and see what kind of impact will that have on our kids, and what does that mean for us as science teachers, social studies, or related arts teachers, and also thinking about that literacy focus as a building. Spend some time with it. You have this week as well as next Wednesday to spend time. Let us know your questions. We'll all be in this together, and have a good time with it.